Hello and good morning. This Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a beautiful day. You are here at Money Truth Moments with the one and only Judy Copenbarger. Morning, Judy. How you doing?
Oh, I am doing fantastic, Carlos. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to our show as usual every Tuesday morning. So, folks, thank you for joining us this morning. If you're not following Judy, please make sure that you visit our website at judycopenbarger.com. Her social media platforms are on there as well that you can follow her. Please make sure you share that out as well. So, we have a great topic today. It's very general in the sense that a lot of folks are going through this. In today's topic, we're gonna talk about questions regarding single parents, right? And I want us to start maybe by defining what is a single parent. What does that look like?
Wow. Lots of ways that can happen. So, a single parent could be anyone who's in charge of kids or is charged with raising kids. And it doesn't mean that they're not 18 yet. It could be that they're still launching adults. Maybe they're college age or they're just getting their career going or starting a business. But this is going to be for someone who's primarily doing it alone day to day. Could be that they're single from the start by choice. It could be that they're single through divorce or they were widowed unexpectedly. Many grandparents are raising children these days, and sometimes there's only one of them to do that. It could be that there are two parents that are not married, and you have a situation where the child is they're co-parenting, but the child's at one place one week and one place another week, or maybe weekends, or however that shared custody goes. Where really, when you're the parent, you are parenting alone. And so, if your role is the primary mentor, the primary coach, or the primary provider for a child or children, you are a single parent.
Yeah, and that's some of the questions that actually came up as well too, because especially now with everything that's happening around us, it's a lot tougher with single parents who lose their income and so forth. So I want to jump right into a couple of questions. What are some immediate considerations a single parent should have, whether planned or not?
Hmm. Well, it goes beyond financial, even though that's kind of our topic. It goes beyond the money part.
Right.
You always want to keep the end game in mind. What do you want your child or your children to say when they look back on their childhood? What do you want them to say about their experience, what they learned? You get to have a hand in the creation of this culture of raising someone. So you can think about education, you can think about the arts, sports, whether or not they're in scouts or travel experiences around the world or around the community. Socialization, you're going to step into their relationships and model that for them. Their faith, all their activities, how they view the world is going to come from you. So are they going to be a giver or are they going to be a taker? They're going to learn that from you. And what do they need to know to become adults that are confident and competent? So we all know adults that are confident, but they forgot to learn skills along the way, that comes from sports and education and all these other activities. And that's a sad situation. But I think even more sad are the people who have confidence, but no competence, right? So you've got to know that you can do it and that you deserve to do it, but you've also got to have a basic skill set to be able to do something. So they're both important. As a single parent, you're going to be the one that speaks into their lives more than anyone else in those early years.
And that actually brings me to my next question: that how does a single parent balance accumulation and the expenses of parenting? I mean, you can plan so much, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, just like anybody else in any other circumstances, whether there's, 2 kids or 20 kids or no kids, you got to start small and save often. It's kind of a discipline. When you have enough, if you look at all the wealthy people that have enough, that didn't just, run into money, inherit it, or, hit the lottery, usually that doesn't last anyway. But people that really have money and they manage money well, they did a little bit over a long time. So one of the skill sets that you can learn early, and it's not too late if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or beyond, is the laddering skill. And this is in the Money Truth book. It's in our mastery program. It's just a way to create goals where you have money. Every time money comes into your household, you're earning it, or it's coming in from rental income or your salary or whatever. You need some of that money to be allocated for now, some for soon, and some for later. And if you start that early on, or just start from where you are, you'll always have what you need. So you don't have to keep saying no, no, no. For some things, you can say, wait. It's not no, it's wait. And pretty much you can have everything you want, but you can't have everything you want right now. So it's a timing thing, right? So with clear goals,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes so easy. Disney said this, Roy Disney said this. It becomes so easy to make decisions when your goals are clear. When you know if it's a yes or a no for right now. An example would be, we want to go take the kids out for a treat, go to the movies. Well, when the movies are open right now, I don't think they are most
Right.
places. We want to go out on the town and just celebrate. We had a great week at school and sports and all that stuff. Well, as an alternative, if you're thinking about saving money for sooner or later rather than right now, spending it, what if you just went to the park and had a picnic? Go feed the ducks. Instead of miniature golfing or skating or bowling or things that take a lot of money, take the kids to the local school. You've got one or two in your neighborhood at least. And, take the Frisbees, take the balls and the mitts, set up your own track meet. Have your own track meet right there on the track. It's free, right? And the memories that you can create are fantastic. I've got the best pictures in our photo albums of doing that with our kids. Even when we had some in strollers, we would go to the local high school with the track and the field and all of that. There's never anybody there. It was our own park. And we would just set up our own games. So you can be creative that way. And it will really help with balancing what do I need for now and later? Because expenses right now, it's easy to use that money up. And then, well, what am I supposed to do with retirement and their education later, right? And so those little things that you save a little bit, $5 here, $10 there, $50 there, makes a big difference to put that away for later and future goals.
And that actually takes me back a little bit too. So when my son was really little, I used to take him. There was a point where I was taking care of him, and I used to go to the library because they used to have this read-along program, and then they could play around with some of the stuff, toys, or different things that they had on there. And we had art, different things. So there are a lot of great resources out there for single parents to do great fun things with their kids too. But I love some of the stories that you've shared and some of those options. And also, speaking of resources, you mentioned also your book, and you also mentioned the online mastering program. I want to take some time right now to also talk about some of those resources, which, folks, by the way, if you are not following Judy, please visit her at judycopenbarger.com. Some of the resources we're going to speak about at this moment, you can find on her website directly. But let's start first with your book. First of all, congratulations on being #1 bestseller on Amazon. And I believe there's other platforms as well that you are just killing it with the book, because it's such an incredible piece of resource for everybody. So let's start with the book. Tell us a little bit about the book and how's a valuable resource.
It's amazing, and I appreciate you saying that. But the congratulations has to go to the whole team. Sure, I had the experience to write the book, and I actually pen to paper. There's no ghostwriter. It's my stuff, my stories, people that I know. Change the names to protect the innocent, but it's all real. Mm-hmm. It's all real templates and real stories and real practical elements of managing finance that work. So I'm honored to have put it together and have it be so well received. But really, the reason the launch went so well and the publication went so well is the team that does all the technical stuff that I just really don't know how to do, don't want to do. So thank you for that. But in the book, Money, Truth, and Life, it really talks about the 5 pillars of money. And it walks you through the basic education all the way to as deep as you want to go. And it's got practical stories of people who worked the 5 pillars really well and had a great result. And then there's stories of actual clients, real people that made mistakes, either before I met them or, they didn't follow the advice, or just something happened when it could have been so easy to avoid the misstep. And so the book goes through all of that. The 5 pillars are legal. So that's your entities, your trust, wills, things like that. Insurances, those are the 2 big areas of protection, by the way, insurance and legal. And then you have taxation. That's a big one, because it's not what you earn, it's what you keep of what you earn in the long run, right? Mm-hmm. And Uncle Sam's always right there, if you let him, to take his piece. So there's so many ways to mitigate tax, or at least reduce it substantially. And then the 2 areas that are growth are the cash reserves and cash flows, and then investments, which include your business interests, your real estate, and then all your traditional investments you think of. stocks and bond, portfolios, your 401ks, IRAs, and things like that. So we go through all of those. And the idea is that when you collaborate and you implement any area of finance in collaboration with all the others, you're going to avoid mistakes. Because you might have an advisor say, oh, you should sell this stock to achieve this goal. Well, let's go get the money. But now next year, Sam says, hey, right, Uncle Sam,
Mm-hmm.
this piece. And now you've solved one problem, but you created a tax problem. It happens a lot with estate planning. It happens a lot with insurance. Cash flows run up against the insurance premiums. So you've got to balance all that, look through every facet before you implement to make sure that you're not going to make a mistake or cause a problem in another area. So that's what we set out to do, and it's working really well.
That's great. And also, you also spoke about the online mastery program. And these are tools that are not only just for single parents, but I know they apply to a lot of us, even at a very young age. But let's talk about the online mastery program, please. And so folks know that resource is available and what's it all about.
Yeah. Well, right now we have it set. So the first 7 days, you can go on there and watch any course you want, any class you want, or all of them, if you have time, in the first week, no charge. And after that, there's a minimal monthly subscription, but it's minimal, compared to, a textbook at college or a book you might pick up at Barnes and Noble on the shelf or something. It is huge. And you can watch some of these elements, some of these courses, they're video, and you can watch them over and over, take your notes and apply it to yourself. And then you can pull from the book or the online mastery course the templates that you need, the worksheets that you need to make it relevant for you at your house. So what you end up with is a very relevant, practical plan that helps you achieve your most important goals for you at your house for your family. It's just strategic wisdom to help you do better. And that's all available for you, a week free. And even the book, you can go on Kindle, and I think it's $1 or something. If you go on Amazon, Barnes and Books A Million, Target, we're bestsellers everywhere. But you can go on there, and I think if you like to read on your iPad or your phone, it's $1. I mean, we just really want people to have the information they need. Of course, you can buy a hardback, and they're everywhere. Books are sold as well.
Yeah, and you know what? That's also a great option, and I'm glad you're bringing that up, folks. If you can get this on a Kindle for 99 cents, there really is no excuse for you to really launch and look into this to actually help your future as well too. So that's a great opportunity. Like I said, go to judycopenbarger.com. Everything we talked about, ordering the book or resources for the online mastery program are there, as well as a whole bunch of videos that are very helpful in different situations and areas of your life too. She's got them on YouTube channel, but like I said, all of her social media platforms on her website at judycopenbarger.com. So make sure that you do follow her as well. Okay, so I liked.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the YouTube. There's all kinds of information there.
True.
There's video upon video upon video, anything from interest to saving to all of these concepts we're talking about are there, including laddering.
Excellent. So we'll make sure that we also post some of those links so you guys start getting familiar with some of these videos that are out there. And again, it's a wealth of free resources that Judy has put together to help people move ahead and just get their lives together when it comes to the financial world. Yeah. So I want to keep following on the topic of single parents and ask you sometimes, what about issues that come up from entering a relationship with kids? Right? You may bring kids into a relationship, or there's kids already in the relationship you're going into.
Yeah. Well, there's that merger, and it's hard enough. And then you have other people. So like in our family, there's 5 kids and mom and dad. We also had my mom that's been with us for 35 years. At 91, she's doing really well. But she's been with us for a long time. And so if you think, when you're married, there's one relationship. And then when you have a child, there's 3 relationships. Well, you just keep multiplying that. When you have 7 people, there's a lot. It's seven times 6. There's a lot of relationships. Each one with another 2, or with another 3, or with another 1. It's a lot. So I think it's just something you have to work at. You've got to plan the outcome that you want. We talked about the end game, and you just got to work at it. And I think communication is key. And then specifically with money, all the issues. Like in our program, all the financial issues, all of those issues are relevant for kids. So, how you spend your money, how you save your money, how you manage it, how you grow it, protect it, give it away. Because
Hmm.
our children learn more from us. And it's not just the relationship, it's everything. They learn from us through our modeling than what we tell them. They're watching. And when they're little, they're
Oh
watching,
yeah.
right? So it's not
Hmm.
what you say, is what you do. Consider, like, when you're working with your kids with anything, show and tell. Remember show and tell from school, and we used
Hmm.
to do something and tell.
Yeah.
You want to not just tell them, you want to show them. So things like, sharing with your children the expenses that you have, the utility bill, the cost of groceries. When you go to pump the gas, while you're filling your tank, talk to them about how much we're spending and what that means in terms of other fun things we could do, but we're putting money in the tank, in the gas tank. And while you're at it, when they're little, show them how to pump it. Don't just leave them in the car. Get them out there and say, here's how you pump it. Turn it on, turn it off. Don't leave the thing in when you drive off, all that. So all these life lessons you have just as you go through life, really important when you're a single parent or you're singly raising children, because time is just as valuable as money, maybe more so. So these things that you have to do that might be routine or mundane or errands, include your kids. That can be learning lesson and great bonding time, and they're learning. Consider that you're creating a legacy of money mastery while they're little, and they won't have to learn the hard way later. They can watch you choose this can of beans over this can of beans, or this level of gas over this level of gas, or this gas station, right? Because we're saving
Right.
money, and money saved means more to achieve our goals later.
And I'm glad you brought up the word legacy, but and I'm gonna actually ask you something regarding that a little bit later.
Mhm.
But I also want to talk about another area where we kind of tend to stay away from because it's almost like a, I don't even know how to what the proper word is, but when we talk about widows, when we talk about widowers, it's a very touchy subject for a lot of folks. But I wanted to see what are some benefits that individuals in these situations haven't thought of that you possibly can point them in the right direction. Maybe such as Social Security, employee benefits, some of that stuff. When this unexpectedly happens.
Yeah, and it's tough when it's a person that you don't expect. In the 80s or 90s, you kind of are waiting. You kind of
Hmm.
expect a stroke or something. But when somebody just goes to work, I'm just thinking about clients over the years, a 30-year-old electrician that somebody forgot to turn off a wire. He just didn't come home. A young man, very young, that had brain cancer. It went away and then came back ultimately. There's so many car accidents and all these things, skiing, running into a tree, all these things that happen that you don't see coming. So you always want to be prepared, obviously, and that's where the legal and the insurance comes in like that. But when that has happened, whether or not you've prepared, you want to really look at the two that you mentioned, the employer benefits. If you had a spouse that passed away and they were working for a corporation that had benefits, it might even be a small business with benefits. And a lot of times, a small business, the employees rally around a widow or a widower and help them out. So you want to inquire. It's worth the time to say, hey, is there anything, that can help us out? If it's a large corporation that has a very robust HR department and all kinds of other employer or employee benefits, they might have some life insurance for particularly a key employee, but for any employee, they might have some kind of an annuity endowment to help spouses of someone who didn't make it home. The public employees are really good at this. First line responders, they're really good at really taking care of the families. But there's also Social Security. And people have all kinds of, thoughts in their mind when they hear Social Security, when they hear those words. It's like, well, that's when I'm 87 and I can't, I'm
Right.
quit eating cat food, whatever. But really, they're available for a widow or a widower. Even if you're young and you were the person staying home with the kids, traditionally you'd have the wife stay home or maybe the husband stays home, but doesn't have
Hmm.
enough units to qualify because Social Security is insurance. So if you don't have enough work record that you paid in to get the insurance, you can receive benefits on your spouses, if you were married long enough, on their um, benefit package. So you can receive what they would have received. There's a widow benefit. And also later in life, a lot of people are unaware of this. If you both earned money, maybe dad earned less than mom or mom earned less than dad, but they both earned, if one of them passes away, you can jump onto their record. If they made more, you get to choose the higher of the two. But even if you didn't earn and you didn't have the insurance, you can have half of the benefit of your spouse who did earn Social Security. So really, if you're married and let's say the dad had a corporate job, mom raised the kids and took care of the house and things like that, later in life, you actually get 1.5 times the benefit because the husband who worked in the workforce gets his full benefit and then another half goes to the wife at retirement age. So there's all kinds of different ways that Social Security can benefit you other than just turning old and getting a check. And it's what
Mm-hmm.
we're looking into. There is, everybody kind of jokes in the industry. Everybody jokes about the Social Security death benefit because it was created back probably in the 50s. I don't know. I used to know all that stuff. I don't remember the date now, but way back. And it's $155. They've never changed it. So woo, you might buy a couple of roses to throw in the hole.
Right.
Really, $155, but they still have it. I don't know why, but there are some good income benefits for someone that unexpectedly loses a spouse that you could look into. There's a pretty good lineup of them.
That's great. I'm glad you're bringing some of this up because it is something that sometimes when this happens, it's like I said, it's unexpected, and then what? Like, what do I do, right? And everybody just tends to get lost without it. And hope that our folks watching are not going through it currently, or if you have gone through it, Judy's giving you guys some options to look into. One of the things that I also want to point out about Money Truth Moments is that when you're watching our show, it's also great that you're getting to know not only about the show, but you're also getting to know Judy at a more personal level, which is awesome. It's the fact that she's really a giver, all sharing her wisdom. Like I said, at our website, judycopenbarger.com, there's a wealth of resources that doesn't cost you a dime. And this is her really sharing about her legacy. And I said I was going to come back to that as well, too. And I have a question before I ask. It's actually two different questions. But as we're talking about this, what are some of the considerations that we should be aware of as a single parent when it comes to their legacy, our legacy, if you're a single parent?
Yeah. Well, I love this whole concept of legacy, and it goes deep for me. And I love that you recognize that this work is my legacy. I've been in this industry 40 some years, worked with a couple of clients over that time. I think we're 30, 40,000 families. When we sit down and look at the old records, it's like, that's a lot of people that we've helped.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the speaking and teaching out there, a lot of people that, if you just make a little change in their life and they just get on a different trajectory, it's all worth it. And the work with this online mastery program and with this book, and there's other books that are coming out right behind this one, it's really for people to know better and then do better. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, you don't even know what questions to ask in some of these areas. How would you? Unless you studied this or grew up in a household where both of your parents were economists or something. Not everyone has the benefit of knowing what to do. And so for me to put something in the world that is the real money truth, is the truth about money, is an honor. And I think it's part of my calling. It's part of my responsibility to make sure it's available for people, whether or not they hire me, which is becoming less and less available, by the way, because we have an organic farm and I love my chickens. So it's just a great way for me to feel like all these years and all the things I've learned is worth it because I get to have an impact and imprint the world with it. So that's my legacy. Let's talk about your legacy. So if you're a single parent, when you're thinking about legacy, you think about, oh, it's the castle I leave to my generations to follow.
Right.
It's your money. Of course, it's your property. It's your business. If you have a business, especially a family business, maybe generational. It's your charitable endeavors. It's how you have an impact on your community and people around you outside of your family. It's your values that you're passing down. It's your behaviors, your attitudes about money and everything else. It's your story. It's your family story. Did your family come over Grapes of Wrath style across Oklahoma during the Dust Bowl? That's my story. Or did they come in on a ship and see Lady Liberty standing there with her torch welcoming them? Did they come later? Maybe they came here because there was distress where they came from and it was necessary to go somewhere for refuge. So what is your family history? And you want to pass that along to your kids because that's a little bit of their DNA. It's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Your life lessons, the things that you learned, sometimes the easy way and sometimes the hard way. All those,
Right.
man, I wish I wouldn't have cashed out that first 3,000 in my 401k to buy that first house. Wish I wouldn't have done that, right? We could have waited 6 months and not done that. So that was a mistake, and we did that. I wish I had it now, right? 40 years later, that'd be a nice
Yeah.
little chunk. So don't do that. You tell the kids, don't do that. Don't, just wait. So I know better because I've had some experience. So those life lessons in every area of life are fabulous to hand down. Legacy is an ongoing process. It's something you create with them while you're here, not just something you leave. It's a living, breathing thing. So you really want to, because you can choose, you want to be intentional with that. It goes all the way back to the little ones that are watching. They're listening. They don't miss anything, these little guys,
Mhm.
right? And so your legacy is actually being created as you're doing these activities day to day. What you use your words to do, what you use your money to do, what your actions are, what your hands and feet are doing every day. They're watching, and that all becomes part of your legacy in tandem with the property and the life insurance proceeds and your IRA and things like that. That's just a tool. The money's just a tool. It's what you do with it while you're here and the impact you're having that really is your legacy.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I know that we're getting close to the end of our show, but I want to make sure that we are able to do our regular. That was a small hiccup. Usually it flows nicer with the challenge. Yeah, but it's challenge time. So we always look forward to this.
All right. This is the homework part. So this is where you really get the bang for your buck. I mean, it's one thing to learn things and maybe even take notes if you're ambitious. You're making phone notes or whatever. Some people don't even do that. They just say, well, that was interesting. I learned something. If you don't apply it, it's just more stuff, right? It's just more notes somewhere.
Right.
So every segment has a challenge, and I love this. So here's your challenge for this week. We're going to do the 3 ways exercise. And if you haven't done it before, that's great. It'll be new. If you've done it before, it's time to redo it. All right. So this is when it can really happen in a single parent household when the ends don't meet. It's like, oh, every month I'm a little short. We have to give up something or borrow something or make up somewhere or borrow from another bucket of money that was supposed to go to the rent or the mortgage. And now, we need groceries. So how do you make the ends meet? So there are 3 ways. What I recommend you do is take a piece of paper and write 1 to 10, take a second piece of paper, write 1 to 10, and a third piece of paper and write 1 to 10. If you have other people with you in the household, maybe you're co-parenting in different households, you should both do it. If you've got your folks helping you, grandparents that are involved in the kids' lives, they should help you do it. And we're going to figure out how to make sure you're not short and you're running out of money before time at the end of every month. So there are 3 things you can do. The first list of 1 to 10 is anything that you can do without judging it. Just write it down. It's like a brainstorm. What are 10 things that I could do to make more money? What could I do? Legal, right? 10 legal things I can do to make more money.
Thanks for the disclaimer on that.
It's got to be legal. Yeah. It depends on what state you're in, what activities, but
Right.
yeah. And then the second list is what can I do to spend less money? It could be taking 150 channels down to 47 channels on your cable bill. It could be turning off the lights, turning off the water a little bit more. It might be moving. It might be selling a vehicle or buying one that's less costly. There's so many things that you could think to do to spend less money when you think about it. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It might be $5, $10. It all adds up. And then the third thing is selling something. What can I sell? There's 10 things that I can sell. It might be, junk that's in your garage, stuff you have up in your closet or shoved under your bed. It might be something you can create. Bake cookies, have a bake sale. It might be the lemon stand out at the soccer field. It might be maybe you're pretty good at art or creating little button greeting cards. And the holidays are coming up. So what can you do to sell that either you create or that you broker? So that's it. 10 things you can do to earn more, 10 things you can do to spend less, and 10 things you can do to sell something. Now you've got a working list. You can go through and now do the vetting and the judging. It's like, well, that's a dumb idea. I don't know. Well, maybe I could do that. Or maybe someone could help me do that. They have the eBay stuff and they have the sell all your junk online. Well, a lot of these Well, communities have strip mall places like the mailbox stores where they'll even take pictures of your stuff and sell it for you. You just take it to them and they take a cut and you're done. And now you cleaned out your
Yeah.
garage and you've got money coming in. There's consignment stores, secondhand stores. There's all kinds of ways to do that. Even donating some of that junk and getting a tax benefit based on your state and federal tax brackets. Every dollar of junk that you give away, it's fair market value junk, or used goods. your junk is
Right.
somebody else's treasure, right? That could be
Right. Right.
40 or more percent to you that Sam gives you to give that stuff away and clean out your closet. So that's your challenge. Three lists, 10 things each.
Okay, folks, you heard the challenge. Please make sure that you let us know, share with us what you come across. And also, one last thing, I want to make sure that you guys understand too, as we're doing this live shows with Judy, please, if you have questions, put it on her platforms. Ask those questions because we can address them here on the show, which we have done before. I'm sure that very soon we're going to have another Q&A from questions from the audience. And if you'd like to be a part of that, please let us know. Send a message as well too. So I want to thank you for your time, Judy. It's always a pleasure and Money Truth Moments with you. Folks, thank you for joining us. Like I said, follow Judy at judycopenbarger.com. There's a wealth of resources. Any last parting words, Judy?
No, just make it a great day. If you're out there doing it alone, know that you don't have to do it alone. You can bring other mentors, coaches, people around to help you create that culture that you want for your child or children, and make it a community effort. It's so worth it and valuable for them. But keep the end in mind.
Excellent. Take care, Judy. Good seeing you.
You too. Have a great day, Carlos.